Cartoon episodes that traumatized children. I know anything that had to do with Flapjack was traumatizing. Flapjack was a traumatizing show. I don't know why they made the show the way it was. SpongeBob, the butterfly scene. I don't know why they did that to butterflies. I don't know why the gorilla episode of SpongeBob like got to me. But these are like the only key childhood show like moments I can remember.
When growing up, one thing we as kids loved doing was watching TV, getting up early to watch Saturday morning cartoons or late at night to watch whatever was playing. These cartoons gave us dreams.
Anything Robot Chicken. Robot Chicken knew how to traumatize. I can't even remember what it traumatized me with because it traumatized me so much. Robot Chicken.
Expectations, and most of all, permanent memories. Though, some shows push the boundaries, causing us to remember the more disturbing side of said cartoon. Today, we will be talking about cartoon episodes that traumatized children.
Okay, let's make sure we have.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Before this one actually starts, I want to let you guys know that today, the day that you are watching this, at 5 p.m. PST, we will be doing a live Q&A on my Discord server.
Yeah, and live Q&A on my Discord. Link is in the description. I'm definitely not doing a live Q&A right now.
Pingu's Dream. Pingu. Pingu was a Swiss-British stop-motion claymation children's show created by Ottmar Gutmann in 1987. The main character is a penguin called Pingu who lives in the South Pole along with his family and friends. The show aired on BBC Children's and Education, and episodes averaged 5 minutes in length. Today, we will be talking about Season 1, Episode 26. Pingu's Dream. The episode starts off as normal, nothing out of the ordinary. Pingu's mom is reading
that's where that soundtrack comes from?
And
yeah, but I did not know that.
Pingu begins to drift away to sleep. He wakes up to the sound of his igloo jumping, and before you know it, the igloo flies away. Then his bed extends its legs and it begins walking. The camera cuts to this creepy walrus watching Pingu in his bed go about their day. Not to mention that every time the walrus pops up, these synths are played, it just gives you some uneasy feeling. What's up with things involving walruses being creepy? Like, what the directors keep showing the audience how the walrus is just watching Pingu. Eventually,
okay, I think as a child this would get me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Watching this as a child, because walruses, like, look at that thing. That thing's kind of ugly. It's kind of disturbing me now. I'm gonna be honest. Another thing that traumatized me as a kid that wasn't a cartoon though, it was a book. Y'all probably know, y'all will know when I'm done describing it. It's a book where this kid was laying down, he was going to sleep, and he woke up flat because he got hit with the painting that fell off of his wall or something like that. That scared me because anytime I would go to sleep and look up at my ceiling fan, I'm like, what if I wake up and my ceiling fan fell on me? And I would be like, when my fan is like on, I'm like, what if the fan just unhooked while it was on and it started flying and just hit my neck and chopped it off? Like, those were real fears.
Actually, the walrus makes his introduction. And you know how the directors made this already creepy character make his introduction to children? This is how.
I hate myself, bro.
It's clear to see that the walrus is supposed to have this like goofy personality that finds everything funny and just wants to play. But they really messed up by making him almost human-like. The walrus begins
No, they did that on purpose. They watched this and they knew what they were doing.
Pingu and eats his bed, all while non-stop laughing. Pingu and his bed begin running away, and Pingu ends up falling down a hill of snow. It was actually a pretty cool transition because the next camera zooms out and you can see that he's in his room again. The episode ends with Pingu crying and his mother consulting him. Yes.
Yeah, that was a bad dream. He just got stalked.
That's how this episode ends. Not only is this the ending to the episode, but this was actually the season finale. This episode was highly controversial and was eventually banned from television due to the giant walrus being too scary and unsettling.
Man, if y'all don't tee up, banned from television because y'all are some pushovers, like, come on.
For many young viewers, the creator Ottmar Gutmann actually used the same walrus model in a German short film he made years prior. This caught me off guard because the voice he used for the walrus is so unexpected. Here, I'll just play the clip.
Dass wir unsere Kundschaft ernst nehmen, das zeigt sich durch Produktraumgestaltung der Kommunikationsräume. Schauen Sie sich mal um.
Yeah, let's move on the list.
Word, I got you, yeah. This was like a baby show? I don't care.
Blues, Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry need no introduction.
That was the suicide episode where they sat on the train tracks and the train came and hit them.
I'm 100% sure everyone watching this video knows exactly who these two are. Blue Cat Blues is about Tom's love for a female cat which doesn't love him back. The video begins with a quote by Jerry's narrator while watching Tom sit on the train tracks patiently waiting for the train to come by. The quote is, "Poor Tom. In a few minutes, it'll all be over. And for the first time since he met her, he'll be happy. Poor, miserable, lovesick creature. I suppose people will say I should have helped him. I know. but it's better this way. Talk about a kid's show getting dark. Throughout the episode, we see just how much Tom is in love with this cat and how he is overthrown by another cat by the name of Mr. Butch.
I just snatched it right off the swing. Right off. He saw what he wanted. He grabbed it.
The cat with more money, more gifts, a better car. Tom resorts to drinking milk.
That has to be overcompensation. Why was that car so long? What were you're trying to hide from the fact that Dingling don't got no girth, huh? Like, you're not fooling me.
Which in this episode is a substitute for alcohol. Tom is seen sliding down a gutter until Jerry saves him. They get splashed by some water and come to find out it's Mr. Butch and the love of Tom's life riding away in his car with a just married sign. After this, the same thing happens to Jerry as his girlfriend is riding away with another mouse. Jerry brings himself down to the train tracks, sits next to Tom, and both patiently wait for the train to pass by.
Oh my
The episode
God.
ends with the haunting horn of a train. This episode was banned by Cartoon Network and Boomerang due to its references to alcohol and also
Man, Boomerang, Cartoon Network, tee up. That was a real deal hard hitting episode. Kids need to see that. Not everything's ha ha he he's. Okay, sometimes they need to be traumatized. Huh?
I want to clear up a common misconception, and that is that this is actually the finale to the series. It's not. Man's best friend, Ren and Stimpy.
Oh Lord, not Ren and Stimpy. Oh my God, I still have that. I used the clip a lot of where he was like, he's humping, one of them's humping the other one.
He ran on Nickelodeon from 1991 to 1996 and focused on a sociopathic chihuahua and a clueless cat. This show got away with so much shit, it's actually scary. Season 2, episode 4 opens up with a man by the name of George Liquor adopting Ren and Stimpy at a pet store. Once he takes them home, he puts them through a bunch of rigorous tasks to see if they can keep up with how he wants his ideal pets to act. In one scene, he forces Stimpy to get on his couch so that he can learn how to be quote-unquote disciplined and, well, just watch.
That's a good boy.
I have no idea how Nickelodeon let this
What?
show air in the first place. Eventually, George
That wasn't
says
that crazy.
his pets need to learn how to attack. So he puts on this padded bite suit, and
That wasn't
Stimpy
crazy,
is
right?
reluctant due to him
did I
being
miss
his
something?
owner. Ren, on the other hand, takes full advantage of this and begins beating the ever-living shit out of George with a paddle. So much so that George's head does a full 360 and right eyeball falls out of its socket. Ren continues on his rampage and just doesn't stop beating this man to a pulp. It even shows George with X's for eyes, and we all know what that means. Though he actually didn't die. It's still quite disturbing to add that little detail. But the disturbing parts of this episode don't end there. George climbs out of his suit, breathes like a maniac, and congratulates Ren on being a true champion. The episode ends with all three characters dancing. Yeah. Now, this episode actually never ended up airing on Nickelodeon.
What?
It was banned once they saw what it actually contained. But this episode was moved to Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon. And that show
wasn't
was
that
basically
bad.
a revival of the
Compared to
original
what we just saw of him like nutting on dude's back, that was not bad.
very sexual. It was just a very sexual show. I mean, if the creator went from making a kids show and turning that kids show into a sexual, I mean, I guess we could see where his mind was. Anyway, we could tell that this creator was trying to go with this dark humor, but it just ended up being super creepy for kids, and it was not the right move.
It definitely wasn't a kid show. Did the creator ever say it was a kid show? There's no way they went to the studio or they're like, yep, the kids are gonna love this. Let's be honest.
Teeth for Two. Cat Dog. Cat Dog ran for 7 years on Nickelodeon from 1998 to 2005. You may recognize Dog's voice since it's Tom Kenny, SpongeBob's voice actor. Teeth for Two is actually a fun concept for an episode where whenever one of them does something, the other one feels it, except it revolves around teeth. Look, I hate the dentist already. Yes, I do go, but just the fact that there's drills in your mouth, pause, nah bro, I just hate everything about the dentist so much. Anyway, the dentist tells them that the food they eat affects the other's teeth, resulting in Cat's teeth to become brown and withered. Cat tries to convince Dog to start eating healthy, but then turns into a battle seeing who can do more damage to the other's teeth. Cat chews on ice, and Dog chews on foil. Later that night, Dog is asleep and Cat attempts to brush his teeth. He is unable to do so because of all the food in his mouth. So what's the next best option? That's right, traveling inside of their own body.
Oh, I thought he was gonna put his mouth onto his mouth and like suck the food out. That's what I thought that was the obvious thing. Okay, that's not bad.
To come out as an inside out cat out of Dog's mouth.
Excuse me?
Dog screams of horror and swallows cat
How
back
old
down
were,
to where
or
he's
is
supposed
the
to be.
audience for the
Skipping to
show?
end, they get their teeth fixed, but end up getting food allergies from all the junk they ate throughout the entire episode. Never thought I'd see an inside-out cat trying to brush a dog's teeth.
Fire concept.
Knuckles and his hilarious problem.
I'm out.
Here we go. Here we go with this show. The thing is, like, Flapjack doesn't have traumatizing moments. It has traumatizing, like, everything. Everything about that show is traumatizing. I don't understand how that show aired.
The Misadventures
The art style itself was ridiculous.
Flapjack. The Misadventures of Flapjack was another show that got away with so much disturbing shit. Personally, as a kid, I loved it just because it was so gross and I thought that was so funny back in the day. I remember pausing it at those funny still frames of like
This is so funny.
really detailed zoomed in pictures of the characters' faces. Anyway, season 2, episode 4 is Knuckles and his hilarious problem. This episode is about addiction.
I remember this. I remember this
Knuckles'
episode.
addiction to candy, which has the effects of alcohol. From feeling warm and happy, angry at the world.
I don't
to
remember
depression.
like the depth of the episode. I just remember watching an episode of him binge eating candy.
The next morning, after Knuckles ingests a bunch of candy, Flapjack realizes that Knuckles has become addicted to the candy. So much so that he hallucinates, sees Flapjack as a lollipop,
Isn't Flapjack 12? Knuckles, calm down. You're gonna catch a case, Knuckles.
and tries eating him. Next, Knuckles begins manipulating Flapjack and tells him that he's just fine and he can trust him. Though this only leads to 2 candy rampages where he steals from homes, babies, and a gumball machine.
No.
Then we go to
What, he did what to Benson? Benson, are you
and
okay?
a gumball machine.
Oh, Benson! Oh no, the whore.
Go on and take it. You deserve it.
We go to this depressing scene showing just how this candy addiction has left Knuckles. Getting kicked out of the candy trough, being used as a doormat, and taking any bit of candy he can get, even if it's from a stranger's mouth. Bubby decides to send Knuckles off to isolation on a piece of the boardwalk into the sea. Here, Knuckles begins hallucinating and imagines a giant Flapjack putting his arms inside of his mouth and vomiting candy into it.
Kids, this is a kids show, by the way. 2.5 subs, and I'll binge this on stream.
Very dark episode if you think about it, especially seeing just how bad the effects of candy have left Knuckles. I really like the episode though. It really makes you aware of just how bad alcohol or any addiction can be.
Yeah.
Earth Mover, Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond released in 1999 and aired on Cartoon Network and
I don't
WB
care about
Kids.
nothing
Today we're gonna be
Batman
talking
related.
about season 1, episode 15, aka Earth Mover. We start with this teenage girl by the name of Jackie hanging with her friends, one of which is Terry McGinnis, aka the Batman after the original Bruce Wayne Batman. She explains that she's been feeling like she was followed and watched by someone. Soon after that, Terry sees a mysterious figure outside through the window. A chase begins, but the figure isn't caught. The next day, Jackie's adopted father gives all 3 of them a ride, but first he says he wants to show them something. That being a piece of land he plans on buying and placing a factory on. An earthquake happens, and again, there is another fight scene. After this, Bill, her adopted father, explains that he thinks it might be Jackie's real father looking for him. He tells the story from many years ago, and while he was trying to dump toxic waste into an abandoned mine shaft, the wire pulling up the container got stuck on a piece of wood and resulted in the entire mine shaft collapsing in on itself. Jackie's father was at the bottom and ended up being crushed by the debris. Not only that, but was covered by the toxic waste. Everyone assumed that he died instantly, and Bill felt so bad that he ended up adopting Jackie, who was only a kid at the time. Fast forward into the episode, and the Earth Mover has trapped both Jackie and Bill underground. During this scene, Jackie finds out what her father actually looks like, and, well...
Oh, he's dead. Shocking. Like, man, we just saw a man had a 12-year-old boy vomit into his mouth because he misses an addiction. Like, this ain't nothing. We just saw a dog hump another dog.
So like the text was saying, I can't show too much due to a copyright claim, but basically Jackie is horrified seeing that this is her father. I mean, who wouldn't be? Look at the way they drew it. Yeah, that's basically the scene in a nutshell. I mean, even listen to that voice. It sounds like he's struggling.
Okay, now haven't shown the broken legs is kind of crazy. Oh, this is kind of crazy. This looks like something a mangaka would draw. That's a manga type. This is a manga type of drawing right there. They did a a thing with that design. I'm gonna keep it 100.
To get his words out. He seems to think that Bill betrayed him and left him to die so that he didn't have to split the revenue with a partner. He also sees Bill adopting Jackie as her getting stolen from him. Imagine accidentally dying and then the friend that accidentally killed you adopts your daughter. Bro, eventually, Batman.
Well, considering you added accident, like, I would still be pressed though. Like, of course, I'm dead. I don't care if it's an accident, I'm still be pressed, but like.
Batman swoops in and saves the day. The episode ends with this very dark quote.
My father.
He's not your father. Not really. He's a ghost.
Dad.
Get that weak ass quote out of my ear. That didn't touch no one's soul. That was weak compared to Tom and Jerry's. That was weak.
Mooch Master P, Mr. Meaty. Mr. Meaty aired from 2006 to
I completely forgot about this show. Oh my God. I completely forgot about this one. I don't remember nothing about it besides the character designs though.
2009 and was canceled due to a mix of low ratings and criticism from adults and vegetarians who protested against the show. Honestly, the show was very lucky it even lasted 3 years considering how ugly all of the characters were. The show followed fast food workers Josh and Parker through their odd adventures. Season 1, episode 6 begins with Parker quote-unquote mooching off of everyone and eating their food. Josh gets annoyed and tricks him into eating a raw patty. Then, weird things start happening, like all of the food Parker is about to take a bite out of disappear. Josh records it with a camcorder and slows down the footage. Then we see that a giant tapeworm is living inside of Parker eating all of his food. They decide to get rid of the tapeworm the only way they know how, fishing it out of Parker's stomach. They do end up getting it out, and an Australian man comes by and says he'll buy it for his zoo. Though he doesn't take it to the zoo. Instead, he swallows it whole in front of him.
Yeah. Come on in.
No, that's a kid show. That's what I want my children watching.
And says she tickles on the way down. Wow.
That's a banger.
Brother had a few more inches.
King Ramsay's Curse / Remembrance of Courage Past. Courage the Cowardly Dog. This list would not be complete without mentioning Courage the Cowardly Dog. I could go on and on about all the creepy monsters that gave kids nightmares throughout.
That gay kids who?
Creepy monsters that gave kids nightmares throughout the entirety of the series. But I want to mention the one that stuck with me the most, and that's King Ramsay's Curse. In this episode, Eustace does not want to return a historical slab because he hears on the news that it's worth $1 million. A person from the museum it belongs to comes over to take it back and offers Eustace a tote bag. Really, my guy? I'm pretty sure you could legally get it back for free. Then the door gets slammed on him. When it becomes nighttime, they hear a creak at the door and check outside. Then we get King Ramses, who just keeps repeating, "Return the slab or
return the slab. My fault. My fault.
Return the slab.
Man, bring me some bands. Bring me some racks.
It's just such a creepy design, and also it's a 3D model in a 2D animated show. There's so many instances of just plain creepy stuff in this cartoon, but that's what gave it its charm. I feel like Courage the Cowardly Dog definitely let young kids know whether they like the horror genre. So shout out to Courage the Cowardly Dog for that. I also want to talk about another episode called Remembrance of Courage Past, which is actually the second to last episode of the entire series. This episode is about Courage's parents, which sadly got taken away from him at an early age due to an evil veterinarian. This veterinarian puts Courage's parents in a rocket ship, and Courage can't do anything because he's just a pup. While being chased, Courage hops into the garbage disposal and escapes. He watches as his parents are sent off to space and waves goodbye.
What are you going to space for? No, I want more backstory on that. What are they doing in space?
We see how Courage is adopted by Muriel and why she decides to name him Courage. Meanwhile, in the present day, the same thing is about to happen to Muriel and Eustace, but luckily Courage is able to save the day and send the veterinarian to space this time.
Why are they getting sent to space
he finds himself with all the other dogs he has experimented on, including Courage's parents.
But why? Why did he put him to space?
Those two episodes never left my mind. I think about those episodes to this day. Jurassic Park, Futurama.
I heard of it. I never watched Futurama.
The reason I'm throwing this in as a bonus is because 1, Futurama wasn't really made for kids. It was a show for young adults. And 2, I don't think this episode traumatized anyone. It was just incredibly sad. And if you're a fan of Futurama, you already know what I'm talking about. This episode, Jurassic Park, was the hardest one to rewatch for me. This episode is about Fry's old dog from 1997 named Seymour. In case you guys don't know, Futurama takes place in the year 3000 with Fry Fry being the only person from the year 2000, since he accidentally fell into a cryogenic chamber on New Year's Day. Anyway, Fry finds Seymour as a fossil in a museum, where he then takes home to the professor. The professor explains that he can actually bring back Seymour with new technology, and so Fry begins getting ready for Seymour's return. This includes a doggy bed, a collar, and some chew toys. When the professor is ready to bring back Seymour, Bender throws his body into a pit of lava because he's jealous that Fry will have a new best friend. We get a flashback of Seymour doing everything in his power to find Fry. Seymour eventually finds Fry, but no one in the lab notices that Fry is in there. Even his parents, who go to pick up Seymour. Talk about frustration. Anyway, Bender jumps into the lava pit and retrieves Seymour's body. Seymour didn't burn due to the material covering his body. The professor finds out that Seymour actually lived his full lifespan of 15 years, 12 years after Fry's disappearance. So Fry decides not to bring him back simply because he doubts Seymour even remembers him, and he probably moved on with another family. But wait, here's the kicker. We, the audience, get a
Did the video cut out? What? Sir? I'm not gonna lie, no audio is making this a lot more, he got, okay, let me fill in the dots. They got rid of him because he probably ran away. They got rid of him because they didn't feel like taking care of him. So he died astray.
The episode was actually nominated for an Emmy in 2003, which, you know, that's just how good the episode was. Sadly, it did not win the Emmy. The Simpsons beat it out, which is also made by Matt Groening. So, Matt Groening, good on you. Yeah, this episode tore my heart out when I watched it. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 200,000 subscribers.
Fantastic video, Tove. I will say the one thing that was weak was the ending of that Batman episode. That quote did not touch nobody's heart. He's a ghost now. And my dad's a ghost. Like, F your dad.